Welcome to A Drink of Wisdom with Jay Wise and Nathan Drinkard. I'm your host, Cody Ward. Thanks for spending some of your time with us tonight. What's going on, guys?
What's up, man? Let's do it.
Let's talk some sports, baby.
Can't get started without that. So nice. In episode 51, Harden takes a shot at Giannis. Steph's ready to return. We delve into some potential franchise tags in the NFL. We begin with interconference NBA action between the Blazers and Pacers. The Blazers started out well last night, taking a 49-43 halftime lead, but were outscored 37-26 in the third and were unable to come back in the fourth. All five Pacers starters scored in double figures, including 20 from All-Star Domantas Sabonis. Portland got 28 from C.J. McCollum, but it wasn't really enough as the Blazers fell to 1-3 since the All-Star break, all without Damian Lillard. All right, Jay, was this more about the Pacers winning or about the Blazers losing?
All about the Pacers. All about the Pacers. The Portland Trail Blazers at this point, without Damian Lillard, they're borderline unwatchable. They're just not very good. I understand you got C.J. McCollum out there trying to do the thing, trying to lead this team, and he put forth a valiant effort last night. Carmelo Anthony, we talked about him previously, making his way back into the NBA. He's had some nice moments, played reasonably well last night. We see Hassan Whiteside out there putting up numbers, 18 and 16, also swatting away about 4 shots. So we get all that, but the injuries they've been succumbed to, I gotta be. I'm so sick of hearing about Yusuf Nurkic. If I see him on the sideline one more time and they say, "Oh, Nurkic, when he comes back," this has been about. I don't know how long it's been since he ain't played, but it's been too long. I don't want to hear another word about him until he's actually on the court in uniform. But I get it. He's important. He matters. And Zach Collins, he's another guy. So they all these injuries, and of course Damian Lillard being out after he was red hot for a stretch, had a stretch where he was averaging about 45 points a game on a 5-game stretch, whatever it was, trying to just will this team back into contention. Because let's face it, the Portland Trail Blazers coming off a Western Conference final appearance, they've been a massive disappointment this year. They made the playoffs 6 straight years. I think Terry Stotts is one of the more underrated coaches in this league. If you recall, several years ago, the Blazers had a starting 5 that included Damian Lillard, Wesley Matthews, Nicholas Batum, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Robin Lopez. They had an offseason where they lost every one of those guys except for Damian Lillard. They come back next season, they don't miss a beat. So I'm thinking about those things in terms of the Blazers. But this year, it just hasn't been their year. They've underperformed, and they're barring Damian Lillard getting back quick, fast, in a hurry. They're done, even though they remain in striking distance for that 8th seed. But even if they make the 8th seed, look, you're going home in the first round. Quick, fast, in a hurry. Don't even worry about it. So the Indiana Pacers, meanwhile, on the other hand, that's something to talk about. They sit in the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. If you recall, they started out 31 and 17 to begin the year. They were highly impressive. Remember, they're a guy this is a team that's been without Victor Oladipo after he got, I believe he tore his knee up last season. And he's finally gotten back into the fold, still trying to work himself back into shape. You can tell there's still some rust that he's working off. But listen, the Pacers are a team, though, in the East. They got a legitimate chance to get up into the 4 spot because the Miami Heat, they're on a bit of a slide right now. And we know the Philadelphia 76ers. Ben Simmons out with the back. Joel Embiid just they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Embiid hurt his shoulder. And I know they got 2 max players still on the roster. But let's be real. They are not max players in this league. They are max players by contract only, not performance. Yes, talking to you, Tobias Harris. You too, Al Horford. So you can go ahead and forget about that. But the Pacers, Oladipo's back. And it struck me last night when I was watching this game. This is a real starting 5. We look at these guys. You got the all-star in Domantas Sabonis having a career year, getting you about 18 and 12 and dishing about 5 assists a game. Malcolm Brogdon is a real player. I thought the Bucks would miss him. They really haven't. But he's been an asset for this team, and he's putting up about 16 and 7 for you, points and assists. having an absolutely fantastic year. He's tailed off in the All-Star break, having some struggles, but he's a guy they lean upon. You got T.J. Warren out there. This is a guy you got from the Phoenix Suns. He's a professional scorer. He can do that. There's other parts of his game where he leaves a little bit to be desired, but a professional scorer nonetheless. Miles Turner, I mean, at the center position, he's a good player. I don't think he's quite reached his potential. I expect a little bit more, but you got to think about in the modern NBA where, I mean, a lot of teams only have one guy in the paint. I think that's been Sabonis this year, which has left Miles Turner on the perimeter a little bit too much. And I think that's one of the things that could be maybe holding him back. And then you got the dude, Victor Oladipo. This is all about Oladipo at this point because we talk about the B to B plus players I reference often in Boston. I just gave you mostly B level players that the Pacers have. They got an A level player, probably more on the A minus level if he's healthy. Victor Oladipo, if he gets healthy, the Pacers are a team to be taken seriously in the East. Their ceiling still is probably only winning one playoff series. Even if you get to the 4, you're going to play the Bucks in the semifinals, and you'll probably lose that series. Even with Oladipo healthy, the Bucks are just that good. But because of the Pacers and how they are still a factor, and we have to pay attention to these guys in the East. I'm not sold on their depth. I think the injury to Jeremy Lamb, that I think that's a killer. That really hampers your depth. I'm not crazy about. I know you got the Holiday guys. You got T.J. McConnell. You got Doug McDermott. I'd like to see him hit a few more perimeter shots. So I'm not crazy about their bench, but they have a real starting 5, and they're a team to be taken serious in the East, and that's why this game is more about the Pacers than the Blazers.
All right. So now that we got the report card out the way, here's the deal. I got something for you. So let's hit up the Blazers right now. I got some questions for you, Cody. All right. So the Blazers' upcoming schedule. Check me out here. At Atlanta, at Orlando, got Washington at home, at Phoenix, get Sacramento at home, then you run it back with Phoenix again, and then you got Memphis at home. How many of those games you think the Blazers win without Damian Lillard?
I would say they should win at least half of them. I don't know if what I saw last night. Fate's kind of up, I'd say, right?
The only reason I ask, because, I mean, I just named all those teams, and only one of those teams is currently a playoff team. So you just said, I think they should win half of these games, and only one of those teams I just gave you are a playoff team. That tells you right now, they ain't even worth this topic. But, you know, the question is the question, so let's go ahead and roll over here to the Pacers. Here's the deal, all right? I agree with Jay 100% on this. The Pacers are getting the oil in the joints right now. They've been taking their fish oil pills. They're getting the juice in the joints right now. Victor Oladipo is working himself back up to be the leader of the squad, all right? Once he gets that mantle, and he gets that mantle again, Sabonis get to lay back and be that second in charge, hook me up. Hey, this team will be something to reckon with. No, let me tell you, I'm not going to get carried away and say this is an Eastern Conference final team. I don't think that. But I will say they would give everybody outside of Milwaukee a run for their money. I don't think they have enough size to give Milwaukee a run. But I do think they would give everybody else in that conference a run for their money. Because I'm going to tell you one thing about Victor Oladipo. A healthy 100% Victor Oladipo, I think he would give Jason Tatum a hard time. Now, we dealing with a very confident Jason Tatum, a first-year All-Star Jason Tatum. And, hey, I heard it from Antoine Walker himself. When you walk in that locker room for the first time as an All-Star, you got the sauce. You dripping the young sauce. Oh, you looking, you like, okay, I'm one of the best 32. Oh, okay, well, there's neither here nor there. Okay, cool. So, Jason Tatum got the sauce. Victor Oladipo been had the sauce because he's been on these All-Star teams. Would have made it this year. I'm fairly confident if he wasn't hurt, he would have made it this year. Why do I say all that? To say this. This team is on the rise. Hey, Miami, they coming for you. They're going to pass you. I'm telling you right now. Hey, Philly, they're going to pass you too. And I do think that they have the ability to be the third seed rather than as well as the fourth seed, because I see the Raptors doing this where I see the Pacers doing this. Because I think the first half was their downfall, whereas teams like the Raptors and the Heat, they came out cooking. Now we starting to see a little decline. We getting a little tired, legs getting a little heavy, identity is getting a little blurry now. I see those teams going on decline where the Pacers are saying, all right, we didn't change the guard from the Sabonis type of deal to the Oladipo deal. Now we can go ahead and take off. Hold on to your caps, folks. So look, this was all about what the Pacers are doing right, and this is all about well, Blazers. Listen, go ahead and chuck the deuce. You might want to go and pull a Golden State. Draymond Green gave everybody the package last night. Just go out there, act a fool, get you a couple of tees, get out of here early. Cause y'all ain't making it nowhere anytime soon.
Yeah, I think for the Blazers, man, I think what it really comes down to is when you look at the Western Conference, especially how competitive it is, there's got to be a team that slips up, right? I mean, there's only 8 teams that can be in the playoffs to begin with. And when you have teams like Oklahoma City and probably to a lesser extent Dallas, they were probably supposed to be kind of good. But like the Thunder at 37-22, I mean, that's probably where we expect the Trailblazers to be right now. But Oklahoma City's winning those games. Dallas is 36-23. And someone has to absorb the losses. And Portland, with the mix of injuries and the fact that things just aren't working out, it does. Basically, what I'm trying to say is your margin for error is so small in the West. You know, if they were an Eastern Conference team, they'd still be in the playoffs. I mean, CJ McCollum by himself could probably get you to the playoffs in the East as 8th seed with what he's got to work with here. He'd be close, but in the West, man, that ain't going to cut it. I mean, and Drink, you're absolutely right. Their schedule down the stretch is not all that bad. They're not going to play a team above 500 again until March 15th. Lillard should be back in 3 or 4 games, is what they're kind of saying right now, kicking the tires on it. So you get him back in time for maybe Sacramento, you could go on a little bit of a run, you know. But still, you got some ground to make up to the Grizzlies, and you watch them last night, man. They just don't. I don't want to say it's coaching, but they just look like the chemistry doesn't look like it's there. I don't know how else to really describe it. You know, some teams they play real fluid, real well, and then some teams just don't have it. And these guys just look like they're all out doing whatever. McCollum, I mean, dude's a warrior. I love him. You know, he's fun to watch, but 11 for 27. I mean, come on, you can't be hoisting up 30 shots. Like, can Carmelo get a couple more? Can we do something else? I mean, there's some other guys doing stuff. I don't know. The Blazers, to me, I think they're pretty cooked. And Indiana's a lot of fun. I think that I was a little bit surprised at what I saw. And I do expect them to be a team in the playoffs. You know, I know it's kind of cliche to go, oh, the team no one wants to see in the playoffs because, okay, every year you always hear that crap. But after the 7 and 8 seed, they're the first team you go like, oh, okay, here we go. This is a team that can actually really give you a 7-game series. And I don't think Miami can sweep them. I don't think Philadelphia can sweep them. Or, I'm sorry, I don't think Boston or Toronto can sweep them. And I actually, Miami and Philly, however it shakes out, they could easily take those guys in a 7-game series and bring it to the wire. So, yeah, I think Jay's right. The depth is pretty questionable. There's a lot of guys that could be doing more, and they're not. But they're getting better. They're getting healthier. Oladipo's coming around. You got guys like Brogdon, a little bit of a slump. He can come out of it any time. Hey, man, that's a little bit of a powder keg, and it ain't going to take much to get them going again. And they could be a team that could give us a little bit of a surprise come playoff time.